This is a Success Journey media presentation. Welcome to the Power Channel. All rights reserved.
The first discussion point we want to talk about is relationship impact. Okay? Relationship impact. All right? And what we want to cover in regard to that is how your relationships determines your progress. Okay? What you're able to do, what you're not able to do, and some of the different reasons why. All right. Here are some of the things that relationships affect for all of us, for everybody. Okay. Relationships affect your ability to focus. Okay. That's probably the number one thing, the number one factor. Okay. Relationships affect your ability to focus. All right. So the thing about it is this: we can look at it two ways. Okay. Your relationship can inspire you to become more focused. Sometimes your relationship can inspire you to become more focused than you've ever been in your life, right? When the chemistry is good, and the understanding is developed, and there's a flow of good energy, of mutual vibration, and mutual care, mutual concern for the other person and the other person's feelings and things like that. It creates a well balanced situation, right? And in that kind of situation, oftentimes there's a freedom that you feel. There's a freedom to express yourself. There's a level of comfortability that you have from that kind of situation. And in those kind of situations, a person can be inspired to go out and chase after their greatness, because they have someone, in their corner or at their side that, that's their champion, So it can go that way. On the other hand, it can go the other way. You can become so distracted because of what's happening, things that are going on negatively, right? Or certain situations that kind of challenge you or challenge the relation, right? You can become so entranced in that you can't focus on your business the way that you're supposed to. You can't perform at the capacity that you're supposed to. And that's a problem. That's a big problem. Okay? A lot of people go through this all around the world. We hear stories all the time of I was watching for example, I was watching an episode of American Greed. A lot of you guys know about the TV show American Greed. I'm not getting paid or anything by them, or sponsored, or, just to put that out there. They're not doing any business with me. I'm just, to make a point to the story that I'm about to tell you guys. I bring them up, respectively. So on an episode of American Greed, there's a gentleman, a businessman, seemingly nice businessman, well-rounded guy, family man, respectable guy, honorable guy. Took care of his wife. I think he had like 2 children. If my memory serves me correct, a son and a daughter, and did well for herself. Traveled abroad, moved abroad with his family, and, took his wife and his kids abroad with him, and was doing exceedingly well. Okay, and it was one of those stories where he ended up not being among us anymore, and the culprit was his wife. Okay, she got him out of there. I think she had an affair with a maintenance guy, a cleaning guy or something who worked in their condo or something like that, some kind of off romance, cheating or something, I don't know, something like this, something to that effect, okay? And yeah, and got, got rid of him, poisoned him and did some other stuff, and, it led to his demise. And that's very extreme, but I share that to say, that's how important and how critical this thing is when we're talking about business and dealing with people who are in our lives. It's serious. It's for real. Okay? It can stop everything. If you're a person that's ambitious, if you're a person that's goal oriented, if you're a person that has drive, focus, a very high level of proficiency, if you're a go-getter, a mover and a shaker, if you're one of those kind of people, you have to be careful, because the people who are closest to you are often, family and significant others, lovers, and people like that, to that effect. And depending on where they are, who they are, and where they are, mentally and spiritually and everything else, your whole situation can come to ruin. I mean, utter ruin, like the falling of Rome. You understand? You can come down. So you have to be careful. So we want to go over some of this material. All right. So things that relationships affect: your ability to focus. Okay. You could you cannot make you cannot meet your commitments. You could not follow through with your end of the deal, because you're distracted by what's going on between you and your partner, okay, or whatever kind of situation you have with whoever. It could become a major distraction, and all of a sudden you're not you're coming up short on your promises. You're not meeting obligations. You're not coming through on your end of the workload, of the work responsibility. You're coming up short because of what you're dealing with. Okay? So you have to be careful. You have to be careful of that. Another thing that relationships affect is your level of motivation. Okay? And what we're talking about is how you could not be as active, right, as you normally would, because of what's happening here, because of what you're going through here, and for a lot of people, what's happening here too. You can find yourself in a slump, in the slump because you're disappointed, you're let down, your heart is broke, your feelings are hurt. Maybe you could be angry or whatever, and you could not be inspired, right? It takes inspiration to do what we do. Especially entrepreneurship. You have to be self-inspired. You have to be self-motivated. You have to be a self-pusher. You have to be a self-cheerleader. It's all up to you as entrepreneurs. We all know this. It's up to us. So you have to be, as an entrepreneur, you have to be a very, very self-driven person, almost to the point of madness, almost in a good way though, almost to the point of madness. Like nothing else matters, except, the mission, like mad scientists, you got to just be mad, with your ideas and with your focus and with your work. And you just have to just be in a frenzy of it. And that's how a lot of us are. And that's the spirit that we have in us to make us go forward and to go out and reach the way that we do, at the level that we do, with the amount of seriousness that we do, right? That's what we have working in us. That's what's in our mind. That's what's in our spirits, and that's the kind of energy, and that's what type of time we're on. Like it's at a very high level. It's serious. Where do you think these millions of dollars come from that millionaires make, right? And those of us, who are reasonably successful in our careers, where do you think we get this money from to do the things we do, make the moves that we make, right? To be able to come to a beautiful beach resort and stay for a week and do things like that and fly all around the world and do different stuff. And, people who go out and, they do charity work and they're philanthropists and they help people build businesses and create opportunities. And where do you think all of that comes from? The ability to do all of that, right? How do they get the green light? How do they get the green light to go? It's because of what's on the inside. What's on the inside gives us that ability. And at the root of that, at the base of that is motivation. Okay? So relationships can affect that, can strip you of that, can take that away from you. So you have to be careful, dealing with people. You have to be careful. You have to be